What if I told you that the world's second-largest economy is drowning in a debt storm so massive, it could rock global markets, destroy savings, and send shockwaves through the price of everything, from smartphones to soybeans? This isn't some doomsday fantasy. It's happening right now, in real time, and it's centered around one country, China. Stay with me, because what we are about to uncover isn't just a financial mess. It's a ticking time bomb that connects gleaming high-speed trains, ghost cities, mountains of unpaid loans, and millions of empty apartments. By the end of this video, you'll understand how China's debt crisis affects you, even if you've never set foot in Asia. Let's start with the symbol of modern China's ambition, high-speed rail. These futuristic trains, zooming across the landscape at 300 kilometers per hour, were meant to be China's big flex to the world. A shiny, unstoppable machine connecting the nation's vast cities and fueling the economy. And, on the surface, it worked. Today, China has the largest high-speed rail network in the world, over 29,000 miles of track and counting. But what if I told you that this entire system is bleeding money? Behind the glossy marketing and sleek stations lies a financial disaster. The cost of building and maintaining these lines is staggering. Estimates say China's high-speed railway has racked up between $1.50 to $2.50 trillion in total costs, possibly even $3 trillion by 2035. And here's the kicker, many of these routes are nearly empty. That's right. Trains in rural provinces often run with more empty seats than passengers. Ticket sales barely cover electricity, let alone the debt payments. The China State Railway Group, the state-owned company managing the trains, loses up to $20 billion every single year. And the problem doesn't end there. Cities and provinces that co-invested in these lines, thinking they'd bring prosperity, are now saddled with debts they can't repay. The idea was to bring economic opportunity to smaller towns. But the result? Those towns are being drained, while megacities like Beijing and Shanghai grow bigger and richer. One project in Shandong province was halted midway, despite costing nearly $20 billion, because authorities realized it might never make the money back. These white elephant projects are everywhere, and the train isn't slowing down. But trains are only one piece of the puzzle. Let's shift tracks, straight into another economic sinkhole, China's real estate crisis. For decades, real estate was the golden goose of China's economic miracle. It made up nearly 30% of the country's GDP. People poured their life savings into apartments, cities mushroomed out of farmland, and developers made billions, often with the backing of local governments hungry for land sales. And then, it all began to collapse. When the government introduced the 3 red lines policy in 2020 to stop reckless borrowing, the party was over. Giants like Evergrande and Country Garden suddenly couldn't pay their debts. Evergrande alone owed over $300 billion. Country Garden, another $190 billion. Developers stopped finishing buildings. People who had paid up front were left with nothing, no homes, no refunds. Furious homebuyers in 2022 even launched a mortgage boycott. Can you imagine paying monthly for a home that doesn't exist? And local governments, which made up to 40% of their revenue from land sales, are now in free fall. With the housing market frozen, their budgets are shattered. Cities owe trillions. And many are turning to creative, some say desperate, methods just to stay afloat, including borrowing even more. Think about that for a second. Borrowing more to pay off previous borrowing. It's like trying to dig yourself out of a hole by digging deeper. Now, here's where it gets even messier. China isn't just dealing with traditional debt from governments and banks. It's also facing a serious problem with its shadow banking system, an unregulated financial jungle where risky loans are packaged into so-called wealth products and sold to regular people. When developers default, these products explode. People lose their life savings. Trust collapses. And the fallout spreads across the entire banking sector. One major trust company, Zhongrong, missed payments on high-profile investments in 2023, sparking widespread panic. And let's not forget about those 60 to 80 million unsold, empty apartments sitting across the country. That's right, up to 80 million homes nobody wants to live in. Ghost cities that once symbolized progress now echo with silence. That's trillions in lost investment, and a sharp decline in home values. In 2024 alone, home prices dropped over 20%, with a record-breaking 13 consecutive months of decline. When property prices fall, people feel poorer. They spend less. Businesses suffer. Job losses rise. It's a vicious cycle, and it's still spinning. The result? As of 2025, China's total debt, public, corporate, and household combined, has crossed 300% of its GDP. That's more than $53 trillion. For context, that's like if you owed 3 years of your salary in debt and had no way to pay it back. So what's China doing to fix this? Well, for starters, they are trying to manage the optics. Most of this debt is domestic, Chinese banks lending to Chinese companies. That gives the government more control than if it owed foreign creditors. They've also got $3.2 trillion in foreign reserves, a useful cushion in a crisis. But here's the rub, they are also taking on even more debt to stay afloat. In 2025 alone, China issued over $68 billion in special sovereign bonds to boost bank capital. They raised the budget deficit limit to 4% of GDP, a 25% jump from the year before. Why? Because they are scrambling to keep their economy from unraveling. They've eased mortgage rules, pushed local governments to buy unsold homes, and even started cracking down on hidden off-the-books debts. Some developers are being allowed to fail, but only in ways the government can control. It's a high-wire balancing act, and there's no net below. And while they are doing this, China is also trying to pivot its economy. From real estate and infrastructure to high-tech, green energy, and consumer spending. That's a smart move, but here's the truth, it takes time. Time China might not have if the debt bomb goes off. And the stakes? They are global. Think about this, China is the world's largest manufacturer, and a key player in global supply chains. If its factories slow down due to financial strain, prices could skyrocket for electronics, clothing, even cars. Countries that export to China, like Brazil, Australia, South Korea, and Germany, will feel the hit when demand drops. Raw materials, luxury goods, industrial parts, they'll all see declines in orders. If you're wondering why that might matter, imagine a slowdown in your own country's exports. That's fewer jobs, slower growth, and rising uncertainty. And then there's the risk of financial contagion. International investors, including pension funds and banks, have poured billions into Chinese property and infrastructure bonds. If defaults increase, they lose money. If that panic spreads, global markets will wobble. There's also growing tension over trade. China might respond to these economic troubles by devaluing its currency to boost exports. That could trigger a currency war, with countries racing to weaken their own money to stay competitive. Think that won't affect you? Wait until inflation returns, and your paycheck buys less than it used to. And let's not forget China's Belt and Road Initiative. That massive global lending project has left countries like Sri Lanka and Zambia drowning in Chinese loans. If China pulls back on support, these nations face unfinished roads, ports, and railways, and a mountain of debt they can't repay. So here we are. China's debt crisis isn't just about some empty apartments and fast trains. It's a complex, high-stakes drama involving trillions in loans, shaky banks, broken promises, and a fragile global economy. The Chinese government is doing everything it can to control the fallout, but the pressure is mounting. The question is, can they keep the whole thing from collapsing? Or will the next economic earthquake start not in New York or London, but in Beijing? If you want to understand where the global economy is headed in the next 5 to 10 years, you need to keep your eyes on China. This isn't just their problem anymore. It's all of ours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the world's most critical economic stories. Because what happens next in China might just reshape the future of money as we know it.